Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today is the day the 220 Hyundai is going to be going back. And like I said before in the videos, that we were only trying this machine out. We're demoing it. The deal we had with Hyundai is we ran it, and they picked up half of the rent. So, and they also covered half the transportation charges on it. So basically, it was a demo and a reduced rental. So the 220 is going back. But before it goes back, I want to go over some things that I really like about it. And there's only a couple things I didn't end up liking about it. But for the most part, I love the machine. So let's get started on going over some things I liked. We'll start in the cab and we'll work our way around the excavator. Well, before we climb in the cab and start going over a few things, I want to touch on something. I would like to thank Dave from Harding's Heavy Equipment, our salesman, that has represented this machine since the day that it arrived. He knows these machines very well. He represents them very well. And he done a very good job of, if I had any questions, I'd give him a phone call and he would research it and get right back to me. So very, very good dealership to work with. Still your mom and pop type dealership. They don't have locations all over the place where they're strung out all over. They're very one-on-one with you. So very, very good people to work with. So, okay, let's get in the cab. Okay, so getting in the cab, and here's one thing that's not the end of the world, but I didn't quite like it. There's not a lot of space between here and here to get in. For me, it's all right. Dad, once he got used to getting in and out of it, he figured it out, but you got to go in a certain way, and you got to come out a certain way. What would have been nice of Hyundai to do is if they could have made this flip up. Like in my Feller Buncher, you unlatch this and you flip it up out of the way, and it gives you full access to the doorway. But, like I said, not the end of the world. Just got to kind of get in it in a different way. Kind of got to turn sideways and get in. So, one great thing that I really like about these excavators is this operator's manual. Located behind the seat. This thing has everything in it. There's torque specs in here. There's engine information. I mean, it's just crazy how much is in this book. I was blown away by this book. When I was loading railroad stone, I found it behind the seat and sitting there waiting on trucks. I read through it quite a bit, and I'm like, there's a lot of information for just being an operator's manual. So that tells me Hyundai does not mind if you repair their equipment on your own. Okay, so moving forward here in the cab, I really like the stereo that we have here. It's got Bluetooth capability. You can answer your phone calls. You can listen to your iHeartRadio or whatever you have on your phone. The nice thing about this is you can answer the phone. The machine can be running wide open. You can have the blower on, and you can still sit in here and talk at a pretty normal volume of your voice, and everybody on the other end hears you just fine. So the stereo system is great in this machine. The heating and air conditioning is also fantastic. The older Hyundais, they didn't have a lot of airflow in the cab, but when they came up with these models, and actually the model before them, they redone all that, and it's way better than it ever was before. So we'll turn the key on. We'll go into the monitor. Now, the other fantastic thing about this machine is there's so many adjustments you can make to the hydraulic system. I mean, it's crazy how you can change things to make it grade better. You can make it faster. You can make it stronger. You can get more stick pull, more boom lift, balance things out. Like if you want more stick pull and you want to be able to have more boom speed, you can change all that. I mean, it's just crazy the things that it'll do. So we'll go in our menu, we'll go to our monitoring, and we'll look at, we've got our engine speed, which the machine's not running. We've got coolant temperature, hydraulic temperature, engine intake temperature, and these are all up because I did have it running this morning. Ambient air, which is outside temperature, 61 degrees. Our DEF, we're at 96.8% full. Battery voltage, well, it's still showing some pressure in the pumps. There must be a little in there. But, I mean, just all kinds of stuff that you want to know about this machine is in here. Manage, we can go to our fuel rate. We'll go to our general record, 3.3 gallon an hour. That was a big question between the 210 and the 220 was the fuel consumption. Being the 220 is the 6.7 Cummins 6-cylinder engine versus the 4-cylinder engine in the 210. But we're still about the same on our fuel burn rate. So I was happy about that. Now let's see, what else can we do? Oh, we can go to our display. We can change all of our stuff in our display, our time, our brightness. So like the brightness, you can make it dim or you can make it bright. I usually run it about right there. So anyways, now we'll go walk around the machine. I'll show you some other things I like. For taking the bucket on and off, simply this switch right here. Flip this red piece up and move your switch. Very simple. You have your straight track mode. Flip this switch and hit a track pedal and it only travels straight forward or straight backwards. And another thing, for you guys that are getting these machines and can't figure out how to turn this bottom windshield wiper on, the top one's controlled right here for the big windshield. Took me a little bit. I finally found it, but there's a windshield wiper switch. It's under the armrest for that. You've got this little compartment on this side that's for like sunglasses and stuff like that. I can sweep that out. Got a little bit of sand in it. So another thing I really like in the cab is this back here. I can set my drone case back here or lunchbox or whatever. There's a place for the bottom window glass to latch in here if you've got the bottom window out of it. So this is kind of nice to have this compartment back here for extra things in your cab. A lot of excavators, this is all filled in with plastic and you can't sit anything in the back of the cab. And cup holder, and I believe right, this when the air conditioner circulates in here, it cools this in here. Your power point for your phone charger, and then I like that for my drone remote. So okay, let's go outside. Well, now that we're outside, we're going to do a quick walk around before we get into some more in-depth stuff in the side panels. So some things I wanted to point out is the lighting. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headlights, 2 up on the boom, 1 right here in front of the toolbox, 1 in the front of the cab, and then 2 up on top of the cab. So for us that do a lot of ditch work at night, that's going to be excellent because them 2 up on the cab, they'll shine down in the ditch, and then we also have our 2 up on the boom that we can adjust to shine where we want. So another excellent thing that was well thought out on this machine is the tie down loops and the toe loops. For the kind of work we do and the conditions that we work in, it's nice to know that this track frame has some good anchor points on it in case we need to pull this machine out. Because you get out in the muck and peat moss, you get one hung up, it's all about time and getting them out quickly. And knowing that you can dig down to this undercarriage and there's already holes in it ready to go, that's good peace of mind. Plus, makes it very easy to chain it down on the trailer, having them right there. Just have you some big foundry hooks on the ends of your chains, hook them right in there, hook them to the trailer, put your binder in, you're ready to go. Something my dad wanted to point out for an older guy like him is the extended steps. Gets the step out past the track pad so you're not hitting your shin as you're getting in and out. Don't mind the undercarriage, I gotta clean it up yet. So, something else I really liked was the paint. Now Hyundai uses a paint makeup that they use in the automotive industry, so these don't fade out as easy as other excavators do. And I will tell you one thing, I've seen a lot of excavator paint jobs, and by far Hyundai does a fantastic job of painting their machines. There is nothing missed, nothing thin. It is all very nice heavy coat of paint. Hydraulic sight glass right here, I like that. The only thing I worry about is possibly a stick sticking in there and breaking it out. The screens and the side panels are nice and thick. They're not flimsy. So sticks get in them. It's going to take a pretty healthy stick to bend them up. Handrails are all very, very well made. Very heavy wall pipe. As you can see, they're really stout. The mirrors, of course, I didn't use. Some of them are still folded around. Okay, so we'll start with the left-hand side of the machine first. I've got the side panels open. So one thing I really like is the cabin air filter right here is easy to get to. You don't have to tear half the cab apart to get to it. All you need is a key to open the little door, and then a Phillips screwdriver. Take 4 screws out. That air filter comes out, and you can change it, blow it out, do whatever you want. Okay, so moving farther back, we have all our fuses and relays all right here. Master switch, engine air filter, pattern changer for those guys like me that run them John Deere style. You can come back here, you can switch it from ISO to backhoe. There's a little chart right there, and don't pick on me for running them backhoe style. It's how I've always ran them, but I can run them both ways actually. So another thing I like is the ability to get to everything. Everything is laid out really nice, and being as we repair a lot of our own equipment, this is fantastic. Really, a good offset wrenches. You can change any pilot line you need to here easily just through this opening, and then take the panel off under the bottom of the cab. So very easy to get to, very well laid out, everything's strapped together, nice harnesses made out of it, and everything's marked. That's a beautiful thing about it. And all these have a part number. So if you need a pilot control hose, you just pull it out, look at the part number on it, and call, tell them what you got, and they can get you one shipped. Now in this side panel, we've got all of our cooling system. And it looks like the hoses are plenty long that you can actually take these coolers out, lay them out, and be able to get deeper in there if you want to pressure wash stuff out. This is actually screens you can pull out from the top, blow out whatever you need to blow out, or wash out whatever you need to wash out. Got our 2 batteries here, easy to get to. Take the covers off. These covers actually prevent battery acid fumes and things like that from getting sucked through the coolers. We've got our overflow tank for a radiator right here, easy to get to. Our windshield washer fluid here, that's really easy to get to. And then another thing I like is these. Very easy to keep the doors open, and they're flexible too. They're not like the old steel rods where they're pretty rigid. These are a little forgiving, but very easy to shut the doors, flip them up, shut them. One here. Okay, so we'll go to the other side of the machine. Well, we'll start in the front, work our way to the back here. So in the front, we have our toolbox. A lot of space in here. There's a holder right there for like a 5-gallon bucket. You could also set a smaller size chainsaw down in there. That is one thing I'd like to have on this machine, is some sort of chainsaw holder. On the old 200, there's the side cabinet behind the cab that I used to stick a chainsaw in with a 20-inch bar, and I don't know if you could do that in this. I suppose you could, but you'd have to be careful with the def system back there. So latch that, unlatch that. That's a safety so that don't fall on you. Try and do this one-handed. Okay. So here's our def tank. This is our access to our def tank. Pretty nice deal. Open this up. You have access to your cap. You actually have a nice gauge here, so when you're filling it, you don't overfill it and run def all over the place. So real nice spot for it. It's safe and it's easy to access. Okay, so moving back to our final side panel here, we have our variable displacement tandem access hydraulic pump. It's capable of 5,400 psi at 1,700 RPM. And I will say that this pump puts out. Definitely has plenty of hydraulic power, has plenty of speed. They've got that right on this machine. So We've got all of our filters for our engine also right here. That's a fuel filter, that's an engine oil filter, and that's fuel filter also. So that when we want to service our engine, we just come in here and we can change all of our filters right here from the ground. We don't have to try to lay over the engine and mess around up there. It's a lot safer down here. You can also drain the engine oil from down here too. We have our pilot control filter right there. Pretty easy to get to. Behind this cover is all of our stuff for our emissions, our exhaust, everything's right there. Take these bolts out, you have easy access to it. Let's take that cover off. So now we'll go up on top and we'll have a look at the engine itself, and I'll show you some things up there that I liked. So now that we're up on top of the excavator, we'll go over a few things. So I like the fact that it's easy to get to all the hydraulic hoses. There's plenty of room to get down in here and change whatever needs to be changed. You can take this cover off and you can gain more access to the 9-spool valve body that this machine has in it for the machine functions. And like I said before, all the hoses have a part number on them, so you can call, order that part number. You've got your 2 valve blocks for the auxiliaries right here, easy to get to. Locking fuel cap's really nice heavy duty locking fuel cap. Now here's the second thing I don't really care for about on this machine, but like they say, they don't make them like they used to, and I think this is going to be the case on any new excavator that we try out and demo, is the plastic roof and the polycarbonate, or whatever they call it, sunroof, I guess you can call them. Well, hatch you can open up to see power lines overhead, but I'm definitely going to have to make some sort of protection for it. But they left us some really good anchor points to work with here. So that won't be too big of a deal. And actually, I think they probably sell a guard, or somebody makes a guard to put on top of it. Anyways, so I'm going to have to do something with that, because, you know, tree tops breaking out and things like that, because this machine will eventually be in the brush. It will have a hydraulic thumb on it. So it's something we're going to have to address. So we've finally made it to the heart of the machine. You could say the hydraulic pump is the heart of the machine, but without the engine, what good's a hydraulic pump? So right here we have a B 6.7 Cummins engine at 170 horse, 650 foot-pounds of torque. We were kind of worried about, you know, being a 6-cylinder would the fuel consumption be extremely high, and no, it was not. This 6-cylinder's running about the same as what the 4-cylinder runs. So it ended up not being a concern at all. The only other concern is, you know, longevity, emissions, stuff like that. We don't know. So we can't tell that. You know, I've ran this machine 60 some hours, and that's not going to tell me all that in 60 some hours. It's going to take, you know, probably 1,000, 1,500 hours before any of that would show its ugly head, if it's going to show it at all. So, you know, I can sit in one of these excavators and tell you in the first 10 hours if I'm going to like the machine itself or not, but I've got to run it for thousands of hours to tell you what it's going to do mechanically. You just can't figure all that out in a few hour demo. So we'll see what it's like in 4 or 5 years. You know, we'll have to do a video if we end up with this machine. We'll do a follow-up video and see how she's doing as far as health-wise, and we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. Something else I should point out that I liked about the body of this excavator is the way they design these derails on the sides. This is really nice that they made this like this, because if you swing into a tree or something, that keeps that tree away from the side panel, you know, that much farther away. So it's got a better chance of hitting this than it does a side panel. So these are really nice. I like those. That was good thinking on Hyundai's part. You can see when we sight down the end of it how much that sticks out. It don't look like much, but I guarantee you that'll help tremendously to save the sides of this machine. Well, I want to talk about one more thing before I give you my final thoughts on this HX220AL, and that's greasing it. They've made it very simple, and this is something that's been simple on other excavators also, not just Hyundai does this. But we've got our grease fitting bank right there that we can grease the main boom pin, the ends of the boom cylinders, and the back end of the stick cylinder, all from right there. Then we come over here on this side, and this is one I really like, is this grease bank right here. We're greasing the boom pin, the end of the stick cylinder pin, and then we are also greasing the pin for the end of the bucket cylinder right here, all from right there. So that makes it very simple. Then we, of course, we have our grease fitting right here, made into the stick for our bushings for our main bucket pin, and it's protected. It's in a good spot. Now this one does have the Hyundai quick coupler on it, produced by Hyundai themselves, and I think it's a great quick coupler. Works very well. I see nothing wrong with it. Very nice heavy duty auxiliary lines. I like how they got these nice heavy duty clamps on them with rubber. Very, very stout, not just flimsy crap. The lines for the quick coupler are all steel lines. They're not hose. They've got nice hold downs and everything for those also. So the plumbing on this machine is very well done and very well laid out. Even up here on the boom, everything's very stout, very good hold downs. I mean, they've done a beautiful job of plumbing this machine. They really did. And they kept everything nice and tight next to the stick so that things aren't getting caught on tree limbs and things like that. So anyways, let's get my final thoughts. My final thoughts on the 220. We will own one. We like the machine. It performs very well for us. I know there was some kind of thoughts earlier in the videos about, you know, being a little heavier than the 210, but after running it, we think that we want to keep the extra weight because with a machine this size, we're going to be running a large ditch bucket on it because a lot of our work is ditch work. So we like to run the wider buckets so we can get more done in a day's time. So that's where the extra weight is going to come really handy with this machine. So when we started looking into these Hyundai excavators, 210s or 220s, this was the 220 that was available to come out. This won't be the 220 that we end up with. We're going to be patient, and we wanted some options that this 220 doesn't have. We want on our one that we actually buy. One of those options is the cameras that give you the overhead view of the machine and show you your blind spots. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, oh well, that's kind of dumb, and you know, what do you need all that for? Well, safety reasons. If it saves somebody's life, you know, it's worth every bit of it. Even if it saves a side panel or something like that, it's totally worth it. There's a lot of times where I can't see my blind side when I'm trying to see how close I am to an object like a utility pole or something like that. That'll show up on the cameras, or even a stump that's already dug out of the ground that's sitting off to the side. You know, I can see that in the camera where I won't be able to see it over the hood or something like that. Now, that's another thing I will point out about the Hyundai excavator is they've kept that low hood, and that's nice because you can see over it. I've seen other excavators where that's really high because they mounted their emission stuff up higher, so they had to make a hood taller to cover it. So another option that we want is a hydraulic thumb. Well, we're not sure if we're going to go hydraulic thumb or if we're going to put a set of grapples on it or what we're going to do. We talked about putting the crypto claw bucket on it that has the claw on the bucket. Problem with that is every time you want to grab something, you've got to actually move the claw to grab it. Where if you have a thumb, you can set it in a position and bring the bucket up to it every time. So we're not sure. Or, the grapples are nice. That's what I run now. I really like grapples. So that's all stuff that we'll figure out down the road. Another option that we were looking into is grade control, and Hyundai does have their own integrated grade control now that they're coming out with. That's going to be an option on these machines. So that was something that we wanted to look into for the one that we buy, which would be nice for digging crawl space, digging basements, putting in tile and things like that. We are getting back into the tile industry, so it would be nice to have that for the drainage tile for digging the starts, or if we need to dig for a surface drain or something like that. So just because we're not buying this one does not mean we're not going to buy a Hyundai Excavator when the time comes. We got some irons in the fire right now that we need to take care of before we get one bought. So, and like I said before in the videos, we weren't going to probably end up buying it right away. It was going to be probably next year sometime before we buy one. So just so nobody's let down that we're not buying it, we're going to eventually buy it, just not right now at this very moment. So it's going to go back. We're going to clean it up. I want to thank Harding's Heavy Equipment for this opportunity, for setting all this up. Dave at Harding's Equipment, our salesman, done an excellent job. Any questions I had, he would call Hyundai, get it all figured out for me, call me right back with the answer. If you need to buy any equipment, go see Dave. Wheel loaders, skid loaders, mini excavators, even parts. They can get you all kinds of undercarriage parts, all kinds of excavator parts, anything you need, they can pretty much get for you. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the series of videos on the Hyundai 220. It's been fun making them. I really enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to buy some of these stickers. I like these stickers. So if we do buy it, I think I'm going to buy one for the other side, because it's kind of weird that it's only on one side. So I need to get one for the other side. But anyways, someday, hopefully, you'll see this excavator with a big dirt grain and steel sticker on it. I'll get some made for it, like Dirt Perfect did for his 210. I know he did release a video a couple days ago that he ended up buying a 210, and congratulations, Dirt Perfect, for your purchase on your new Hyundai excavator. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get a lot of use out of it. So anyways, thank you for watching. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you all in the next one.